Hello everyone. This session we will start discussing about the development aspects, or how health is or population health is associated with several development indicators or the policy makings, or while doing that we'll start with the debate between growth versus development, growth and development. So what is growth primarily? Whenever we talk about growth, in economics or anything related to economics or socioeconomic development, when we talk about growth, it is basically the the improvement in economic indicators. So growth is basically improvement in economic indicators. Now these economic indicators can be, say, our GDP, GNP, gross domestic product, gross national product, NDP, national domestic product, NP, my per capita income. Now what is gross domestic product? Gross domestic product is the values of total goods and services produced within a particular country, domestic, right, within a particular country during a particular year. So the value for goods and services produced during a particular year within a particular country. GNP is gross domestic product plus the net, the income earned from abroad. So the gross domestic product plus the income earned from abroad by the country's citizens. The net domestic product is minus the depreciation and all the values of intermediary goods. Net national product is again GNP minus the value of intermediary goods, where per capita income is the total GDP divided by total number of population, that is the average income, right, per capita income. So whenever we talk about the growth of the country, we will say that GDP has increased by this percentage, GNP has increased by that percentage and all. But this is fine that our economy is improvement, but does this economy is improve, or the per capita income? But does this really mean that our country or the society is developing? Not really. So there are several limitations of these growth indicators. The number one being inequality. Say a country in a Middle Eastern country where we see the per capita income is very high, but that's primarily because certain and a very small proportion of population holds the largest share of the money, and then the rest of the people are really poor. Yes, but the that probably 1% is probably holding that the 99% of the money, if you know about Gini coefficient and all, right, or the Lorentz curve. What is happening is, we try to estimate that how far this curve is, how close this curve is to this diagonal line, and then we try to estimate that if this is far away, then the smallest section of the population is holding a larger section of the income, and that's really not desired. Yeah? So then it is not a good equity condition, or the inequality is very high. And then in these growth indicators we cannot really measure this inequality. And the next thing is that there are certain indicators or certain variables, such as the say the black market, or the productivity which is not monetarily accounted, such as say some informal economy where people are paid in terms of kinds, or our mothers who do not have any economic activity, who are not contributing economically, probably earning money, but at the same time their household level contribution is really enormous. So but that is never accounted for in the gross domestic product. And because they work, probably the male, the females in the houses work, if they don't go for any economic earning, probably the males of the members of that household can contribute better towards the economic condition of the household. So but these things are not actually accounted for, these growth indicators, and then once they are not accounted for, the growth indicators, it falls back, and then the development of that country, of the society, is not measured in a holistic way. So on the contrary to the growth, when we talk about development, it's often it's often defined as that unfolding of human potential for meaningful participation in economic, social, political and cultural processes and institutions. So that you can see now even the gender equality, the women are the political leaders now, or the some seat share is there 3:1 or something like that in the Panchayati Raj institutes, like in the rural level, in the ward level, municipal elections and all institutes, so that people can improve their conditions. There should not be any discrimination that a certain section of the population cannot go to this school, certain section of the population cannot avail this particular hospital, or there is no treatment facility for a certain village. So everybody should be able to unfold their human potential, so that whatever is their capability, they can utilize that, and they can meaningfully participate. That means they have a contribution, they are positively contributing towards the benefits of, or towards the improvement of the society in terms of economic activity, social performance, political involvement and cultural performances for any process or in an institution, and it's basically a normative concept, yeah. And then it talks about several indicators. This normative concept of development talks about, say, poverty, inequality, because these are the ones which can be estimated by growth but overlooked by the growth. 3, the progress, sustenance. This sustenance means the ability to find the basic needs, food, like roti kapra makan, yeah, food, shelter, and other basic provisions. Self-esteem, a person's self-esteem is very important, because otherwise if you go back, this political or cultural processes, or even the social process, even the economic processes will be deterred, or their meaningful participation will be deterred. Next is freedom. Not only freedom from other foreign entities or intruders, but also freedom from bondage labor, freedom to get themselves educated, freedom to avail a certain benefit and all this, yeah. 7 is sustainable freedom to speak, freedom to perform a particular activity. 7 is sustainability. Now it's the hot cake, sustainability, because under these environmental degradations, we have problem about sustainability, and then there is a concept of sustainable development goal. We'll learn more about that. And then this sustainability means we use our resources in such a way that our future generations will not suffer. So we have to utilize our resources so that there is sufficient amount of resources left for the future generations. And then the final one is a holistic development comprising of primary, secondary and tertiary. So in terms of say medical care, there should be primary health center, there should be secondary level healthcare facilities, and there should be tertiary for all sections of the population. Yeah. So if I go back to this unfolding of human potential, that means whether they are utilizing their capability or not. So I just catch this word capability and go to the Amartya Sen's theory of capability approach. So what Professor Sen says, it has got three components, right? So three components. Number one is entitlement, that every single individual in every single entitlement should be entitled for all goods and services which is available. There should not be any difference across groups or within groups. So especially the life sustenance, self esteem, it is ensured by this entitlement or proper entitlement. The second is capabilities. Realize the capabilities of different people, different population, or if some people are or some population is lacking from the capabilities, then probably you need to make them capable, provide them the basic education, provide them with the information, provide them with better healthcare facilities, because they should be physically capable as well, and so that you with this health, education, information, and occupation, their capabilities are better utilized, and then it helps in the nation building. Then the third one is functioning. If the capabilities, after you entitled everybody to certain the basic amenities, the education, health, occupation and all, and if you it's developing the human resources, and certainly it moves towards occupation, if they can be developed as a better human resource, and the capability is improved. So it's not only entitling everybody with the basic health and education, the capability improves also because of the better quality. So capabilities talk about the quality as well. So in terms of the quality, if you can provide them the better quality of health, education, or the basic sustenance and reasons to find their self-esteem or freedom, in that way probably the functioning is also better. And if the functioning is better, the society and the economy is certainly doing good. So, and it is like all these entitlement, capabilities, functionings should be in terms of it starts, everything starts with that political and civil rights. Civil rights within the society, across the societies, and and then it ensures the economic freedom. Yeah, and once economic freedom is also there, then we should talk about social opportunities, not only work, but there should be social opportunities for other aspects of life as well. And then we should talk about the transparency and security. It can be employment benefit, it can be emergency relief, it can be some accidental coverage, this security, social security schemes. And transparency, of course, is talking about the corruption, and then how government works mutually with the civil rights organization, with the people in general, with the private bodies and all. So this is all about capability approach, what Professor Amartya Sen says. And then the core values will be, apart from these, out of these, the core values what we try to achieve is nothing but the sustenance, self-esteem and freedom to choose or freedom of choice, right? So that means they have the basic sustenance. Now after sustenance they want self-esteem. After self-esteem they should also have to have, you know, better choices of life. So and you know, and this this is a basic development indicator which has moved beyond the growth. So you can see economics is also talking about economic freedom, so we are just not talking about the growth. So the debate between growth versus development actually is like, if you recently have seen or just, you know, during last couple of years, Professor Bhagwati and Professor Sen, if you see this, then probably you will find that Bhagwati was the proponent of growth first and Professor Amartya Sen was first development. Right, and to me it's like whether it is egg comes first or chicken comes first, you know, which is first, and we really don't have an answer, because one is little rightist, one is towards leftist or socialist. So the growth first is like you have to have like say first bring growth, you know, bring the economic development. Once people have jobs, then probably they will have just bring jobs, you know, set up industries and all. You know, once or tertiary care sector, service sector based development, mostly tertiary care sector, because for service sector they will require some amount of education. So if the tertiary sector develops, then people have jobs, people have money, so they will send their children to the better education and to have better education, will you know, spend behind their health. So naturally the next generation will be benefited with a better resources. Whereas development first says and that first develop the society, develop the human resource, give better health, better education, and they will only bring the jobs. If a society is well capable, then why won't the jobs come to them? So there will be jobs, and then it's government's responsibility to provide them with better health, better education, better information, better political choices and all this, right? And that actually has a direct impact of bringing in job, because they are good and then the jobs will come to them. So again, it's very difficult to say. So if you know that for Amartya Sen, like it's Kerala model of development and it's kind of a Gujarat model of development. Gujarat model of development, yeah. So and then we want to see that, you know, we wanted to see that what is really helping, but we really don't have a proper answer or convincing answer that which really works better. So probably the socialist point of view, from the socialist point of view, they will say we must work towards development, and then somebody who talk about the, you know, the economy first, then they will say we must first have growth, and that will ensure development. Once the country has money, the government has money, once people have money, then that can work together towards a better development, you know. So and then the, you know, the debate continues. Thank you.